Hey ladies and gentlemen, so this is going to be kind of an interesting video, okay? I hope you guys are all taking care of yourselves really well and you're doing well. This is going to be very interesting videos, just so have a seat. You'll definitely want to have a seat for this one and keep an open mind, you know? So, I've read this book, right? And also I've seen a couple of videos about this, okay? And so, um, you know, this is something you're not taught, you'll never be taught in school, okay? And the reason being is because you're not supposed to know about this, okay? And so people, through the ancient wisdom and through people like the chosen ones, right, who came here specifically for this, they came here to bring this information in as their DNA, or they're made from a different cloth, right? Like it's stated in the Bible, right? And so I believe the ancient texts. I wouldn't believe all of them, right? And that's why I don't follow religion. But I do believe that there's so much wisdom in the ancient texts, and that wisdom, of course, a lot of it has been removed, a lot of it has been manipulated, right? But uh, for the most part, we have gotten a lot of it, which is true, still remains true, right? And so um, uh, once again, right, you cannot sell something without some of it, at least some of it being true, because otherwise nobody would just accept it, right? No one would accept it because something that's completely fabricated would have just been discounted by everyone eventually, right? Sooner or later. And so people are not entirely dumb, right? Although they're dumbed down, right? And so um, eh, with so much information coming in, you have to be discerning, right, about what is true and what isn't true. And I think the um, the amount of information that we're exposed to nowadays is too much. It's way too much, and because of that, we do have to tap in and tune in into our own intuition. That's exactly what it's teaching us and telling us to do, right? And so, it's teaching us that, and that's a wonderful thing. Um, And so, in this video, I'm going to discuss why we are here. Okay, that's something that you're not going to be learning in school. Like, why am I here? Who am I? What am I? What is this place, right? What does the earth actually look like? Some say it's flat, some say it's round, some say it's a sphere, some say it's a plane, right? Uh, you don't know. You don't know this, right? You don't know this unless you're a scientist, and even scientists don't freaking know anything, everything, right? The information that scientists um, scientists come up with information that's constantly changing and evolving too. And so if they knew something, they might solve a piece of the puzzle, right? But they don't. More often than not, they don't have the entire picture, or that picture changes, right? And so um, and also, who are these scientists funded by, anyways, right? Should we even trust them? That is the question, right? And so there's that, right? And so, but I want to go back to why we're here, right? Have you ever considered that this was actually a prison planet? You know, and because it sure as hell seems like it sometimes, right? Everything that's been designed is meant to keep you imprisoned, and it's meant to take your energy, and it's meant to extract your energy, right? And your resources, taxation, right? And everything, basically, the banking system, right? Uh, and I think during COVID, right, or the scamdemic, right, we have seen how we have been shown. That was the time when we have been shown how enslaved we all were and how little choice we had in anything that we had to say. nobody asked us whether we wanted to wear those masks. They were simply enforced upon us. We had to wear them, okay? Same with everything else. The way we were treated, it was dehumanizing. People were made to line up for food. I was in Latvia at the time, and it wasn't that bad there, but it kind of was too, actually. But it wasn't as bad as in other countries, or so I've read, right? But this stuff, um, what I'm trying to say is that this pandemic has shown you how little choice you have, and how enslaved you really are. Um, just the fact that you need your passport to travel your own planet, if it's a planet, right? That should show you that you're not free. The documentation alone, right? The fact that you have to pay all these fees in order to travel, right? That you have to, I don't know, get visa, right? In certain, if you want to go to certain countries, that you need, um, I don't know, permission, right? Technically, we shouldn't need permission to begin with, if this is our planet, which it is, right? But anyways, I'm going to dive really deep in this video, guys, okay? And I want to talk to you about, um, but I want to dive really deep in this video, and I want to discuss certain things, okay? So let's go back to this planet being a prison planet, okay? Um, a couple of remote viewers have um, gone and seen basically the grid around our planet, okay? Or so it seems, right? Some would say that it's demonic, right? One good question that was asked was, okay, how do we know that these remote viewers have not been intercepted by demonic entities that have told them this information, right? So, okay, it's a good, I suppose it's a good question to ask, right? But considering the physical, right, not just the spiritual or the grid that we do not see, right? Um, Considering uh, all that is keeping us from being truly free, right? Um, it makes sense to me, It makes sense, okay? And also, I just also kind of discussed, and supposedly, right, just to go back to this, right? If you consider the pyramids, right? I've always been drawn to the pyramids for some reason, okay, guys? And once again, if you are a chosen one, right, you're going to be drawn to a lot of, you're going to be drawn to things that will unlock certain aspects within you that you already know. So they're going to kind of like awaken you to the truth, okay? And they're going to point you in the right direction, right? So pay attention. That's why I say pay attention to the things that you're drawn to, right? And so one of those other things for me personally, right, is actually the pyramids, right? I've never been there, okay? I've seen other pyramids in Mexico, but I definitely am very drawn to, I've always been drawn to Egypt in particular, okay? So, and they just discovered a lot of information about Egypt, right? Whether this information is true or not, I don't know. It remains to be seen, right? But one thing that I can tell you is that I think I've read this in a book, okay? Is that, and this rang very true to me personally. It resonated with my soul, right? And it's the fact that the keys to this grid are held in the pyramids. They're inside the pyramids, okay? The keys to this, to unlocking this grid, right? And allowing for all of our souls to finally be set free once we die, right? And so, in a sense, right, the suit that we're wearing, this meat suit, is in a sense is a prison, right? That's keeping us stuck, that's keeping us entrapped. But not only that, right? But our consciousness, because it's always manipulated, right, by these entities that are keeping us enslaved, right? You can call them demons, you can call them the archons, right? They're actually called the archons. They can be these reptilian snake-like creatures, right? Or the archons. They're actually, by the way, these archons or snake-like creatures, right? They're represented in many ancient texts. They're all literally all over the place. Okay, you can see the snake like everywhere, right? And so these creatures, they supposedly, the reason why they're keeping us enslaved here or keeping souls enslaved here is because they need our light. They need to feed on our. They actually get their source, right? Their energy from our fear. Okay, and hence that's why they have to. They've attacked our consciousness, right? And they're redirecting it towards fear-based things, right? So things like wars, things like fighting and bad news and everything, basically anything that's not in alignment with who we truly are, and everything that's keeping us in this low vibrational place, right? That's keeping us entrapped, enslaved, and it's keeping us from um, yes, but well, yes, anyway, so that's what I mean, right? And so uh, there's that, right? And so one other thing that I wanted to mention, okay, that's extremely powerful, okay. And when I watched this video, which was interesting, right, they did discuss like, how do I get out of here when I die, right? And so that's a good question, right? And there were many different answers on that, and that was quite interesting to read. The comment sections are always usually the most interesting things to read, right? Sometimes it can be even more interesting than the video itself, right? And so I really do enjoy reading the comments, right? And so people had a lot of very interesting comments to say, and people had very different information on that, right? Some say that you have to die at a certain at a 45-degree angle. They didn't say which way you needed to face, which was really interesting to me and kind of funny too. I don't know if that resonated with me, okay? But supposedly, I think the Pope or someone was asked to die in that way, okay? So that was kind of funny, okay? But I don't know, okay? Uh, that's take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what to think about that. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you, okay? Um, some say when you die, then that like don't go into the light, right? And because you will, it's a trap in itself, right? Going into the light will entrap you and make you reincarnate again, basically go back to earth, right? And anyways, here are my thoughts on this, guys, okay? And this kind of information came to me, okay? Something kind of clicked, okay, for me yesterday, okay? And so this is about this thing, okay? I'm not gonna mention it, okay? But you know what I mean, right? The reason why everyone was supposed to take it, right? And we were forced to take it is the reason being is because the archons want to suppress us as much as possible. They want to control us, and they want to they don't want us to escape, basically. They don't want us to raise our consciousness. Um they don't want us to leave, right? They want us entrapped here, okay? And for them to entrap us here, they had to give us the gene altering therapy, right? And that's exactly what it was. It wasn't the wax, okay? It was the gene altering therapy, and many researchers have talked about this. They've discussed this already, right? And that's exactly what it was, okay? It was meant to do something to our genes, okay? In order maybe to make us forget, okay, certain information. I'm not a scientist, okay, so obviously I cannot go into detail, okay, about this, right, with you. But all I can tell you is that I bet you guys they were trying to change something. They were trying to alter something in our genes, something in our DNA that made us remember, that perhaps even gave us access to this ancient wisdom, or some of us at least, okay? And so, therefore, imprisoning us here for good, okay? uh, Preventing us from moving on right to source. Okay, I don't know how that can happen. I don't know whether that's possible with the grid, but I do believe that it is possible. I do believe that once you evolve, once you ascend, so basically they were meant to, they know what's coming, they know what's coming, it has been predicted. They knew it was there was no stopping the light that was going to shine on this planet. Okay, they knew they weren't going to be able to stop it, but they're trying to anyways. They tried to. Okay, and once again, you thought it was one thing when really in reality it was a completely different thing, and it was actually about your DNA, and it was about erasing something from your DNA, okay, or from the chosen ones DNA, okay. I don't know who exactly they were targeting. I think it was the chosen ones, but it could be everyone else, okay. I don't know for sure, okay. But one thing that is certain, guys, it wasn't about what you thought it was. It was about that. Okay, it was about modifying or changing or erasing something from your DNA so you don't remember and so you stay stuck. Okay, one other thing that I will tell you is that they're going to use the AI for the exactly same reason. They're already using it, and just a side note, okay, there's a lot of work, right? So if you're looking for work, there's a lot of work that's training AI right now. Guys, if you're gonna take on that job, you're gonna participate in your own enslavement, basically, okay? Because that's exactly what they want. They want us enslaved, they want us miserable because they're getting the energy from that misery. Okay, it's like a narcissist, right? On a macro level, the narc gets the energy from your misery, from your unhappiness. They enjoy it, get a rise out of it. They become happier and more energized. They even have this really crazy smirk on their face when you're like suffering. Okay, guys, I've seen it, time and time again. Okay, but that's exactly what these entities, whoever they are, you can call them you know you can call them archons, right? You can call them the demons. You can call them whatever, right? It's these dark entity attachments. We don't know for sure who they are, okay? But we do know that they have taken over humanity, and they are trying to keep us enslaved, okay, on a physical and on a spiritual level too, okay. And I think that's why the chosen ones are here, okay. Star seeds, you can call them, right? Light workers. They simply cannot stop us. They cannot duplicate us. They cannot, um, although they're trying to, right? And so sooner or later they're going to be exposed. Okay, there's no stopping that. They're going to be exposed and they're going to become extinct. They're going to die out. Okay, because without the energy source, basically, a true revolution, right, will come from us depleting them of their source energy, which they so need. Okay, and they, like I said, their main source of energy is our misery. Okay, and if we were to raise above that, okay, and to step into our hearts and to raise above the ego, right? That's why I talk about the ego so much on my channel, right? If we are to rise above all of that, okay, above fear, above jealousy, hatred, once again, if we heal, right, if we do the inner work, if we take care of ourselves first, then we can do that as a collective, okay. And so if we do that, guys, then they're going to be deprived of their source, okay, and they're going to die out, okay. And so there's that, okay. And so I think it's really, really, I know it sounds funny to some, maybe, or it might be shocking, right? And by the way, the source that they collect is called like lush, I think, lush. That's one thing that I also kind of I've read about, I think like a long time ago. Yeah. And so, yeah, guys, so a true revolution, right, will come from us going within, healing whatever it is that needs to be healed, facing our shadows, right, embracing our shadows, and stepping into our true power, okay, that's within, right, and connecting to our souls, right, and listening to our truth and being guided by spirit and the truth and the divine. And trust me, guys, then their days will be numbered if we all do this collectively. Okay, we cannot let them, um, um, whatever it is that they try to do with our DNA. Okay, or with AI, right, soon to come. We cannot let them do this, okay? We have the power to stop this as a collective, okay? Of course, it's going to depend on you as an individual first and foremost, right? But eventually, we're going to rise as you know as a collective, right? Because we are, after all, we're all connected, and we're one and the same in a sense, right? Too. So um, the answer is self love and then love, right? Love, love, love. That's your answer, right? And so um, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm gonna go and we're gonna eat. We're gonna eat some food right now because I'm so hungry and my kid is too. So yeah, we're gonna go eat. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos. One other thing that I want to discuss also, or that I wanted to add, is that the only way out is in, right? So the only way out, right, is in. And that makes sense, right? And that was kind of portrayed to you or shown to you in the movie The Matrix, right? Is that he had to, he had to exit his mind, right? Or his egoic mind and move past that, right? And so I think that's exactly the way out for us too, okay? It's to rise above our ego, right? And into our heart space, okay? Because that's the key, okay? Your heart space is the key, right? It's a portal, right? And so I think that's the way out, okay? I don't know. I honestly think that's probably going to, if you are able to move past that, right? Then you're not going to come back here, even if there is a grid, okay? Um, I don't think they're able to, and that's why they're trying to stop the chosen ones, right? Or those that have awakened, or those that do carry this inner knowledge, right? Um, and that's why they're trying to stop the chosen ones, right? Like in the Matrix, right? Because they know that you're the keys. You guys are the keys to set everyone else free, basically, okay? And to help others get the hell out of this prison planet, right? Or well, I don't think it used to be a prison planet, right? Once again, if you go back to like Lemuria, right? By the way, I knew nothing of Lemuria, guys, but I named my cat that, okay? I had a black cat and I decided to just, something came to me, right? And I named him Lemur, right? And I was like, why does this name ring a bell, right? And I knew nothing about Lemuria, right, or Atlantis. And then I researched some of it. I still need to do some research on it, right? But I researched some of it and I was like, wow, okay, this is crazy, So once again, right, like pay attention to what you do unconsciously, because it unlocks a lot of um, wisdom, inner wisdom within you. It unlocks certain truth, okay? It exposes you to a certain truth, right? And it shows you things, right? So the things that you're drawn to, the things that uh, you perhaps do, like I said, like with my cat, right? I named my cat Lemur, right? And then it uh, clicked in me that I was like, what is that? What does it mean? And so I went back, I did some research, and I was stunned, but by what I found out, okay? And so pay attention to the things that you do, the information that you're drawn to, because we already have the inner wisdom, right? We have it in our DNA, right? So or we can tap in, tune in, right? And get it from source, right? From the Akashic record, book, right? Of records. Um, and so, yeah. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Once again, right? Yeah, I guess I said what I wanted to say. All right.